You have to understand that the system is working exactly how it was meant to. We're too either apathetic, ignorant, or stupid to recognize that we're playing in a game we no longer need to play into, and we need to turn inward. You can make a choice. You live in the best possible time you could ever live in to be black. You are making a conscious choice, whether you realize it or not, to continue to be a victim by buying into victim mentality.
For example, R. Kelly, what does accountability look like from our community?
Here's what accountability looks like. We stop at the one person like, oh, we got the man and that's it. No, tear up the entire tree by its roots. We don't do that. We let them ride. So why aren't you going into these black churches and saying, y'all are making between $33 and $38 million a week on tithes and offering, but our communities all look like hot trash truck juice. You also don't even stand up and say, oh, we want to protect black women, this, that, and the third, but you let your black women go into the church unchecked.
You address the issues, and then you actively have solutions. Like, it's not just, I'm just talking my shit. Like, I'm just getting this off. Like, you have some actual tangible solutions, and I can appreciate that about you. You started off the book saying that the system isn't broken, is working just fine.
Yeah.
How does reframing it as it's a perfectly tuned trap, I believe you said in the book, how does that reframing it that way help change the way Black Americans rethink that?
Look at it like this. If somebody hates you, there's no amount of facts, there's no amount of love, there's no amount of roses you can give them that's going to turn them around if they got it in their head to hate you, right? Now, let's talk finances. If there is an entire set of industries based on your suffering, based on your ignorance, based on your inability to take care of yourself from a health standpoint, if 85% of foundational Black American populated neighborhoods are food deserts, of course you're going to go to Church's Chicken, McDonald's, and nothing against the good peoples at Church's Chicken and McDonald's, but we all know what it leads to. You know, I know what it led to. So if I can keep you fat and on that sugar, then we can start campaigning on, I'm going to give you $35 diabetes medication, Black people. Nah. We're not doing that. If in fact we continue to have this situation where we believe that robbing and killing and stealing on radio is okay and saying that's just the culture, when everybody who owns the distribution channels and the actual record companies happen to be palm colored and not chocolate colored, you have to understand that the system is working exactly how it was meant to. We're too either apathetic, ignorant, or stupid to recognize that we're playing in a game we no longer need to play into, and we need to turn inward. I've been to New York several times. I've lived in 34 cities in 19 states because I was in radio, and I found a little Italy everywhere I went. I found a Chinatown. I found a Hispanic neighborhood that was culturally controlled by Hispanics. Show me, by and large, where that is for Black people if you take the hood out.
Hold on. Okay, I wanna piggyback on that. The hood is our neighborhood, just being honest. If we take back control of the hoods, if we build them up, that's technically where a lot of primarily Black people, that we would call them, are located. But we don't take the time to reinvest back into the hoods. What we normally do is we move out of them. You know, but I think if people put their money back into the hoods, if we had people stay there or whatnot, we change the mentality, we change the culture, the quote unquote hood don't have to be called the hood no more. We can call it whatever we want to call it. If you want to call it Black Town, so be it. But if we put that time and energy back into it, that's the location that we were given in the United States because we stayed there. You see Chinatown, they build theirs up accordingly to how their culture reflects it. What's sad is that the hood reflects a lot of our culture, which ain't the best. Robbing, stealing, killing, as he said.
That good. That's we don't have.
So the system is working absolutely perfectly, and we keep getting the same thing. So for the past 60 years, it's been, well, all Republicans who are making millions are racist, and all the Democrats really love you. So we're going to come into the hood. We're going to wear some kente cloth. We're going to do the nay-nay a few times, and then you're going to vote for us, and we're going to give you nothing. Because if you vote one way, one time, they're not motivated to do anything for you, and the party you've been paying no attention to because you're so scared of them for whatever reason, they're not even going to come to the table. So my whole thing is we go independent. We take care of our finances. Like, name me 5 Black banks. Go.
5 Black banks?
One United, right? That's
One United.
Okay.
That's it.
That might be the only one I know. I ain't gonna lie.
I rest my case.
Mm-hmm.
But there's literally a bank called the China Bank. Name me a white bank. You could do it all day. Wells Fargo, Chase, Manhattan, JP Morgan.
All of them.
You see what I'm saying?
I'm gonna say this real quick. I understand having certain things specifically to be black owned. I get it, but at the same time, you still gonna have to play the same game as every other bank out there, regardless of who they own by. It doesn't matter. You still got to play the capitalistic game. You still have to win off loans. You still have to win off making money off of other people's money. So that's where I kind of get into when it gets super pro-black, to where it really doesn't matter. If you're going to play the game of capitalism, regardless of the color, you still got to still play the same tactics. One thing I can say is us as a people, if we can change our mentality, we can see more of us thriving. Instead of it's just like, oh, I got to get that because it's black owned. I got to get that because it's black. Everybody playing the same game. It don't matter. They want you to spend their money so they can get more of it. It is what it is.
We don't control anything financially. We don't control how we operate. We don't even have sense enough to locally go to our politicians and say, listen, when it comes to the way we are policed, because we love talking about it when a white person kills a black person, but we don't like to talk about the fact that cops would behave differently if there was some accountability. Here's what I mean. If the cop lives within a 5-mile radius of where he or she patrols, you better believe we're going to have a really nice, good relationship with the police.
For sure.
Because we know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying? Even our gangsters ain't really that gangster, respectfully.
I mean, Young Thug and them letting us know that right now. Like,
I mean, but did you need Young Thug to tell you that? Is George Zimmerman still breathing and signing packets of Skittles?
Sure is.
What about the dude who killed George Floyd? He's sitting in jail chilling. He ain't got yet. R. Kelly done got popped in jail. You see what I'm saying? The system works exactly how it's supposed to. Nobody expects anything from black people. And then they put it in movies. What did the Joker say in the hospital? He said, you know, if a gangbanger kills a bunch of kids, nobody gets mad because it's all part of the plan. Let a senator get killed. Let the CEO of a healthcare company die.
Yeah, they ride
All of a sudden, oh my God, you know who Luigi Mangione is, but you don't know who killed 3 people in Harlem or 30 people in Chicago last week.
I will say this. I don't condone violence, but yes, a lot of other cultures, they're boogeymen, they're gangsters. They like ghosts almost. You hear the names of them, but they move in silent and the people are very fearful. I'm not saying it's right at all, but yes, a lot of other cultures, they definitely move differently when it comes down to protecting their ideals and their beliefs. But I will say this, the ones that we have in our community, a lot of the times, the so-called gangsters, routers or whatnot, they riding for the wrong reasons, and they're not as gangster as they try and portray. You feel me? That's one thing I can point out in our community, which I don't condone violence, so I don't condone that type of behavior when it comes down to, but we know it's good and bad and everything. This is still duality based, so you're gonna still have the baddies with the goodies. You feel me?
Tell me how the system's not working.
You speaking.
You said survival is not success. So how do we get from becoming out of a survival mode to get more into a dominant mode? Because many people in our community, all we know is survival. So how do we go from survival to dominant?
Yeah.
You choose to know survival. You can thrive whenever you want to. You guys are living proof. Okay, show of hands. How many people here have a broadcasting degree? How many people have an FCC license?
Oh, no.
How many people have put 1, 2, 3, 4 radio personalities in the Hall of Fame? So out of the 4 of us sitting here, there's only one real professional broadcaster here, right? Y'all are doing more money. I mean, we could probably run the AdSense, but I'm pretty sure you're making more money than my channel is. You can make a choice. You live in the best possible time you could ever live in.
That's fact.
To be black. Period. Point.
That's powerful. I want us to think about that for a second, because a lot of people feel like in 2025 to be black is still the white man got their foot on your neck, and that could be so far from the truth. We can do whatever we want to do. We can get multiple jobs. You can jump in multiple career fields. Nobody's holding you back because you black. You just need to have the right credentials. Carry yourself accordingly. Change your personality. Change your characteristics. Stop acting like a victim, and you can get in spaces that others can't. Because other people of color have gotten into those spaces. You can do the same. Stop feeling like people looking at you funny because you're a different color, your texture, your hair texture is different. Ain't nobody care about all that. Carry yourself accordingly. Most people don't care, even if they make a joke about it. Who cares? It's not going to affect you in the long run. Get out your head and stop thinking about the petty things. That's, I think, the biggest step that we can't get across is the small petty things that just eat us up inside. How we look, and how we might talk, this swagger, all these things like that. Man, know how to have an on and off switch. Whatever space you need to hop into, have an on and off switch. You don't have to act like that all the time, but at least when you get into these places of business where you have to carry yourself accordingly, learn how to do it.
Blank. The gag is they have weapons of mass distraction to keep you focused on nonsense and BS. Watch CNBC. And on CNBC, you'll hear people say things like this. Start prepping. Start getting meals ready to eat in case there's something wrong. Start buying generators. Start making sure you're stockpiling gold because the dollar is fluctuating. They were worried about bricks and also other stuff. You turn on BET, what do you see? We buy gold. Hey, I'll take your gold. There's literally a dude sounding like Gold Member. Got 15 gold chains. Like, oh, come in Brooklyn. I buy your gold.
On BET?
On BET, on any network that caters to black people, wherever they're throwing drinks at each other and calling each other, monkeys and biatches on reality TV, which is also owned by palm-colored people. So, again, they're telling their people one thing and telling us something else, and they're still profiting any way you slice it. So,
like, even when you think about it, you go to these urban neighborhoods or black communities. There's liquor store, chicken spot, Chinese restaurant. When you go to their communities, if you go to an Asian community, there's not as much Chinese restaurants. There's not as much liquor store in sight. Nothing. And we only there to, for us to our spending power.
Correct.
Oh, it's not. Technical difficulties. I want to say something real quick. There's a chicken spot, liquor spot in every black neighborhood. See, this is where when we get so deep into being pro-black to where we have to understand the system that we live in. We in a melting pot. Everybody's living amongst each other. There's white people in my neighborhood. There's going to be white people in your neighborhood. The apartment complex that you move into, it's going to be very mixed. It's going to be white and black. Until you go into the very, very black, predominantly black neighborhoods. I'm talking about predominantly black, but those are going to still be, I would say those slightly might be rare at the same time because most people are more integrated and mixed than we actually want to admit to. So you're going to see liquor stores everywhere. You're going to see a KFC everywhere, McDonald's everywhere. They with whites too. I know Asian people, Spanish people, they all eating the same exact thing. So I don't want to sit here and say that they always putting this stuff in just our community. They putting this stuff in the United States. Everybody's brainwashed. Everybody drinking the same Kool-Aid. So that's why I don't want to get so specific when they say it's just us. No, I know white people that's 600 pounds. I know blacks that's 600 pounds. You have to understand the way everybody's a victim at this point. Everybody getting got. Especially the whites as well. They probably getting got the worst. Just being honest, because they probably might be more gullible to the things that's right in their face they don't want to pay attention to. So I just don't want us to get so caught up in the rhetoric that, man, this brother speaking facts, but at the same time, I don't want to get overly caught up to where we feel like a super victim. No, we super victimized. Oh my God. No, we have to understand what's happening on a whole level, the totality of it, so we know how to still move with people that might not look the same like us, but might have the same ideals. Because you got white people out there that think the same way how we think with what's going on right now, but we'll write them off because they're not the same color as us.
I don't give a damn how much money we have. Not one black person in America can buy an inch of land in any Chinatown, USA. Name one you know. Don't worry, I'll wait.
Oh, they bucking.
Sure, you ain't gonna get an answer.
It ain't gonna happen. Have you in the Delhi district or the Diamond district? And you know what I mean when I say that. You're not buying an inch. And if you do, there's a partnership attached to it. In Little Italy, you ain't buying an inch, but unless there's a partnership attached to it. What about us? How do you let people...
They don't go to those neighborhoods, do they? Like,
no. The other part of that is, how do you let people just run up in your neighborhood, open up shop? And I get commercial redlining because I talk about it in depth. But how do you let them open up shop and not tax them? But you got rappers coming into different cities having to check in, but ain't nobody checking in on Mrs. Kim, who's got a cleaners, a nail salon, and a corner store. But Ray needs new cleats. Michelle needs a dance scholarship. Run that. Because you're taking our money out.
You know what the thing is? We're going to have to start producing more black Karens. And I know people don't like the whole Karen culture of how someone who's overly focused on what other people are doing, but we need black Karens in the hoods. Those are our neighborhoods. Get more black Karens to where they're more concerned on how people keeping up with their houses or the businesses that come into the community. See, we need people to be in other people's business when it comes down to policing what comes into the community. But if we don't have anybody like that, if everybody just like, mind my business, I don't care, of course people gonna be able to come in and take advantage of the situation. We live in capitalism. So of course somebody gonna come put a business right there in your neighborhood to sell to you. You don't care. You just want to buy what they got. So we have to look at it on that level. We need people that's gonna be more concerned and overly focused on certain things. That's what everybody has a job. Let the crash outs crash out.
That's true.
That's what I'm talking about. You are making a conscious choice, whether you realize it or not, to continue to be a victim by buying into victim mentality, as opposed to, and I'm not saying it's not easy. I want to be clear on that. I'm not saying that it's an easy thing to do. It is not. Right. However, how many people here have dyscalculia? Do you even know what dyscalculia is? It's dyslexia for math. How many people have dyslexia? How many people have a stutter?
I do.
So the 22-time best-selling author with dyscalculia and dyslexia and a speech impediment found a way to get through all of that and being poor to get here. So I'm trying to understand what the excuse is.
You got a speech impediment?
Yeah.
Wow. Doing your thing.
Shout out to you.
But
man.
That's where I'm a bit conflicted with the narrative, because especially when migrants come here, they will use that same talking point to say, well, black, specifically foundational black Americans are lazy because, you know, you guys are capable of doing it. You just don't do it. You guys can do the X, but he did it. Like, so if he did it, then y'all should all be able to do it. So that, I understand where you're coming from, but people will actively try to use that against a lot of black people.
So let me make the distinction or the delineation. I'm a foundational black American.
Okay.
My mama black, my daddy black. I did not come from any place other than here. Having said that, I don't go to Jamaica and speak on what's happening in the grill. I do not go to Ghana and speak what's happening in Ghana. I do not go to Nigeria and talk about what's happening in Lagos because it's none of my business. It is not my place.
I feel that.
Having said that, the first thing I said was that the system is working exactly how it's supposed to. When you come over here from the Caribbean, from Africa, from South America, whichever type of black that you are, you get an immigrant experience. You do not have 400 years of chattel slavery hanging over your head. You do not know anything about Jim Crow, and you do not understand what is happening to us directly. You catch a little bit of an incident here and there because you look like us, and most people can't tell the difference, just like most Americans can't tell the difference between a Japanese, a Vietnamese, a Chinese. Do you understand where I'm going?
For sure.
So I'm gonna need everybody who's not a foundational American, black American, to stay the hell out of my conversation. Understand it's not your place, and realize that we have things to do. I'm not saying that we're lazy. I'm saying no one is teaching us, and we rely too often on other people to handle what it is we need to handle. And here's what I mean by that. Name me the Jewish American hero you learned about in school.
Who that?
Jewish American hero?
Yeah, name them. Name me the Vietnamese American hero you learned about in school.
I get what he's saying.
Okay. What about the Colombian American hero you learned about in school?
I want to piggyback off the immigrant conversation before we get too far right here. I understand the narrative of, we need to separate from the immigrants when it comes down to our fight, their fight. But when it comes down to it, they'll say that they're dealing with the same things in their lands with, the black diaspora being held back, foot on their neck. So it's like, what is the fight now? Are we fighting just for the being brown or black colored people, or are we fighting for what's been done in America? See, that's where it gets dicey when it comes to brown and black people, all this stuff. Who comes from who, where, what, when, why? That's why it gets so dicey for me, man. Because you got people that possibly look like you that want to fight with you maybe, but you say, you know what, you ain't experienced what I experienced. Get out of here. And you can't criticize us either. You call us lazy and all this. Get out of here. But don't you want allies? I don't know. Would you consider them an ally? Do they have to go through the same experiences as us? Please comment, people. I'm curious on what y'all think about the immigrant conversation, opposed to FBAs, foundational Black Americans. I don't know how to exactly feel about it because, like I said, I'm more of a vibe with your tribe type of person. So I'm not going to just write anyone off if we all trying to have the same common message and goals. If you got people that want to build and create something with you, and they really good people, I don't think it really matters on how they look or who they are when it comes to their background of ethnicity. So yeah, that's gonna be an argument that's gonna have to be held by the people. But I'm curious on what y'all think about that.
Nigerian American hero you learned about in school? Yet and still, I hear Black people talking about they're taking Black history out of the schools. Why isn't Black history in your home? Your school is supposed to be supplementing. Your education starts at home. Even Malcolm said your mother is your first teacher, and the teacher she gives that child is the message she gives that child, the child takes out into the world. We let everybody else tell us how we're supposed to behave, and we don't set the standards, and we don't check the outliers. We bury our trash with us. Our trash is in the house with us, and we just say, well, that's just how Uncle Ray Ray is. Don't leave your daughters around him. No, Uncle Ray Ray needs his ass.
Yeah.
Facts. He is 100% right on that. In our community, a lot of the time, we'll push stuff up under the rug. We let certain people be. We don't like to bring up things. We want to people don't know how to address things sometimes with like family members. They just want to be quiet about it and just try and forget about it. No, we need to address these things, and we got to recognize that this is a problem. Hold people accountable.
Y'all let R. Kelly ride for 20 some odd years and didn't say nothing.
Facts.
Yeah.
Watching it.
But even with that, one of the VPs at Jive told me, because I was in radio for a long time, I said, a couple of my jocks have that tape. And I walked past the studio and he's peeing on a girl. It's over. He says to me, Dave, listen, by the time this goes to trial, if this goes to trial, we're going to have all y'all dancing. And showing up, whoa, 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 whoa. And we let him ride.
Damn.
We don't hold ourselves accountable. We just let everybody do whatever they want to and say it's their right. We don't see any other culture. Andy Cohen, if he had daughters, and he doesn't because we know why, hey girl, hey. But if he did, I guarantee you his daughters would not be on no show throwing drinks at each other, talking about they going with the wind fabulous, throwing fans in their face, calling each other monkeys. Why do we allow that and why don't we shame them? When the Italians saw the Jersey Shore, they immediately condemned it. What have we condemned?
Hold on now. Jersey Shore was running for a long time. Me and wifey watched Jersey Shore. Yeah, we watched a lot of seasons of that. It definitely was running. I mean, it had a long run. I think it got to the point where they just aged out and they just couldn't do it anymore. So I don't know about the Italians cutting out the Jersey Shore culture. I think they were eating off of it because it bigged up Italians low key with their culture, having a good time, partying, vibing, all that stuff like that. It definitely bigged up their culture for at least the young ones in the Italian diaspora.
Whose fault is that?
It's ours, for sure.
It's not our fault that they set it up. It's not our fault that they cast those thoughts because thoughts run a mile long. I'm old enough to remember when Nelly slid the card down a girl's behind and everybody was outraged and the argument was a real one. Even if this girl didn't do it, there's a million of them lined up.
Facts.
When do we shame them for that? But you want to cancel somebody for a tweet. Your outrage is selective. I'm outraged at the fact that we continue to not know who our kids' teachers are. I'm outraged at the fact that we don't know who our city council person is. We don't even know what district we live in half the time. But you're mad because of what Blueface did to Krishan?
Yeah.
No.
That's sad.
That part is on us.
Yeah.
And we've got to start setting a different level of standards. And that's not shading anybody. If you want to do whatever you want to do, cool. But don't act like that's all of us. And for those of us it's not, we have to do a better job of saying, hey, that's you. That don't speak for all of us. And you can't tell me this is my culture because you're not one of us. We don't do that.
Yeah.
I think we get a lot of backlash even on our platform. Like if you listen to the message, sometimes I always speak about the iconic why Eli moment, right? And when you think about it, like everybody only cares about her being irate, aggressive, and screaming, why Eli, right?
Right.
But nobody received the message that Eli was telling her that she shouldn't be messing with a married man. No one knows anything about that part of the episode. They only watch the part of her being. So even our content, we get a lot of pushback because they're like, oh, You guys need to watch who you have. We're holding people accountable. We hold ourselves accountable.
Certainly.
So why do you think that it's hard to hold people accountable, even if you're doing that, and that you get more ramifications for doing so?
And real quick, what does accountability look like? Because we use that word a lot. You know what I mean? Like, for example, R. Kelly, what does accountability look like from our community?
Here's what accountability looks like.
It's real.
If we're going to use the R. Kelly example, right? Accountability would have been, R. Kelly, we know, is a functional illiterate. So he's not booking flights. We know for a fact that somebody on his team who also worked for the record label allegedly went and got that forged marriage license or got that forged birth certificate for Aaliyah to be able to marry him. Why didn't anybody sue Jive? Why didn't anybody sue his team? How is it you're just the one man that got caught when there's an entire circuit that you did not run? This is not a Puff situation where you're at the top of the food chain. You're an artist producer. There's all these other people who are making money off of you, who are benefiting for what they know is going on. This isn't anything like we stop at the one person like, oh, we got the man and that's it. No, tear up the entire tree by its roots. We don't do that. We let them ride. When is the last time you heard anybody other than Amanda Steinberg and me right now saying Andy Cohen is trash? When is the last time you heard anybody said that the real winner of the East Coast West Coast beef was Jimmy Iovine, who also made more money from Beats by Dre than Dr. Dre did? Y'all are sitting up here talking about, well, Harvey Weinstein ain't our problem. Yeah, well, tell that to Lupita Nyong'o. Because you love black people, right? Ain't all black people black people? Don't we love black people? Even if we're foundation, we got cultural differences. So if he tried to pull out and allegedly tried to get sloppy toppy, it should have been up on him.
But see, so right there, I will say this. I think he kind of contradicted himself a little bit. Because just a minute ago, he mentioned about the FBA situation. But then right here, he just said that, what about Lupita, I forgot what her last name is. But yeah, we might be different, but if we still culturally kind of the same, why are we not calling that out? See, now we get into the part of when you overly pro-black and then you try and push out people who might want to be so-called close to the culture, you want to alienate them. So he just really, I just caught what he said right there. I feel like he kind of double-talked a little bit.
You ain't stopped watching Pulp Fiction. You ain't stopped watching Spy Kids. You didn't hit up Robert Rodriguez and say, listen, if you doing business with Miramax, we ain't anything you put out, Shark Boy, Lava Girl, all that is up for. We don't do that. When is the last time we had a boycott that lasted longer than 100 days? And please don't tell me about that Target stuff because that's for white women. DEI doesn't mean anything for black people because 4% of those jobs go to black people. The other 96 are a combination of everybody else. And at the top of that food chain is white women. So I'm not talking about that. We don't have any real backbone. That's why they know they can ride that out. That's why they know that these slick ass preachers will sit up there and they'll go after a Target because Target can be held up hostage for what did Jamal Brown say? $250 million.
Yeah, that was crazy.
But you're not holding Dollar General for that because it's a lot of people in these same neighborhoods that tithe to you every single Sunday that need Dollar General because it's the closest thing they can get to food. True. So it's strategic. It's not about injustice. It's about selective outrage for cash. So it's a stick-up job. So why aren't you going into these black churches and saying, y'all are making between 33 and $38 million a week on tithes and offerings alone, which is billions of dollars a year, but our communities all look like hot trash truck juice. It's up on you, but you don't. You also don't even stand up and say, oh, we want to protect black women, this, that, and the third, but you let your black women go into the church unchecked.
Because they know that they can't call out specific people, especially black women, because they know that's going to be a large base of the church that donates, that shows up, participates in all the programs. If you call them out the way how they supposed to be called out, they're not gonna like that. So they have to same time call them out through the scriptures, but at the same time, you have to coddle them in the scriptures so that they stay and constantly keep giving money. It's definitely a game when it comes down to churches as well too. Please comment how y'all feel about that, because I know it's difference of opinions when it comes down to what the church does to the community, but I don't think it's all conducive for the best so-called black experience.
And you're not checking this man that she's getting this word from, who's not encouraging her to read her Bible. He's just encouraging her to listen to how good he preaching, how good he looks.
Send that basket one more time.
Yeah.
And in some cases, buckets.
So even with the DEI,
I want to leave it at that, y'all, because I really just wanted to hear. Yeah, y'all, I need a new XLR cable. So yeah, struggling right now. But I want to piggyback on everything that was said because the brother was speaking facts. I'm not gonna lie, he was speaking facts. As a few things that I have some contention with, like I said, I used to be super pro-black at one point. But once I started seeing that, hold up, everybody, like he said about the system, everybody has to play the game accordingly. It don't matter if it's a black person at the top or a white person, they're gonna probably be doing the same thing, same practices, same principles. So I think it's gonna be more of a system problem in navigating to not getting certain situations, getting into the best situation you can get in possibly, so you don't have to feel like you're getting scammed or you're getting taken advantage of. That's what it's gonna be. Because sometimes we'll point the finger at certain cultures if we buy something or if we get into a situation, but not knowing that if we go into it the right way, we can get taken care of the right way. You go buy a car, you want to make sure you have your credit right. You want to make sure you have possibly a down payment if you want the payment cheaper. You want to make sure that your life is in order so we don't have to point the finger at anybody else for saying that I got done wrong. When it comes to housing, the same thing. We all can have the same equal opportunities if things are in line. I have certain things in line where I get ample enough opportunities because focused on credit, focused on having extra cash, the whole nine. So I get taken care of as if I'm a 40-year-old white guy sometimes. I know that sounds crazy, and that might not be a good comparison, but I don't know. It's just something. The comparison popped up in my head. What I'm trying to say is that just because you young, you black, don't mean that somebody trying to have their foot on your neck. It's about the character, how you trying to carry yourself. How can we restructure the mindset for the better? And I'm be honest, it's not going to work for just everybody on a mass scale. I think it's going to have to be start first in the household with the families. That's going to have to be the first structures, and it's going to spread out to who you vibe with, your friends close to you, talking about building things, trying to create something. If we look at it on a small scale, everything got to start small and then go big. Sometimes you just can't jump big and then just try and go back to small. Which is why you see a lot of these artists out here who get a whole bunch of money. They usually don't never jump back down small. They're already on the big level. Now they're trying to do other bigger level things, but everybody has to have their own fight. Some people are meant to be at the small level. They're advocates in the community. They're doing it, but we're starting to, we lose that and we don't have that same fight. Everybody got to know their role and position. Everybody ain't going to be the boss. Some people got to take the backseat role. You feel me? Some people got to be the usher. Some people got to be the stewardess. Some people got to be the janitor. Everybody got to play their part. But, I feel like we in this main character culture where everybody just want to be the main character. And that sometimes is the problem. That's the problem. But brother was spitting facts. And I want to make sure I get his name right because I feel like I messed that up a lot of the times. Let's see where his name is at. Dave Anderson. I think the video I reacted to last time I called him Ryan Anderson. My apologies. I'm off sometimes, man. I'll be honest. It's not easy sometimes having to get your thoughts out the whole nine on the spot. He mentioned about speech impediments. I have the same. I stutter sometimes. I have to work on that. And the only way I could get over that is constantly talking. It's the only way you can actually teach yourself, control the thoughts, control the tongue, pause, to where you're not running and fumbling over your words consistently. It's not easy. It's a challenge, but we can work on things. We can improve things. But if we don't try, we're going to fail. If you don't stand for something, you're going to fall for anything. And I practice and I preach that consistently throughout life. And I think that's probably one of the biggest things people can follow. And like I said, the people who you look at online, they're not always going to be your heroes, man. I think it's best to take bits and pieces from people. They saying things that make sense, right, correct, if it resonate with you, take that. You're not going to be able to take everything from everybody. And it's okay. It's okay. That's one of the biggest things I had to learn because I would get heroes online or whatnot who I felt like were good inspirations. And over time, you see things pop out about them. It's like, oh, so you can't get overly invested with certain people. Take the good pieces and just go off of that and see how you can implement in your life and be the best you can be for the people around you. Because that's what's going to matter. People around you who you can influence, people want to join your mission, y'all can create and build something, man. I'm going to have this linked in the description, this channel. Y'all can watch this in its entirety. Y'all check it out. Definitely like the Daily Wrap-Up crew. I mean, they've been killing it throughout, the years with all the interviews and podcasts and whatnot. And then you got Dave Anderson right here. Powerful message. I think we need people like this nowadays because we don't have many anymore. The last one who I remember I used to like a lot, he's older though, years ago, Claude Anderson, but those guys are getting older. They don't want to keep preaching the same rhetoric no more. And he used to talk about power economics. So, and then we got Umar. Yeah. So we don't have many. So make sure y'all like this video. Comment below. I hope y'all having a great day, whatever time of day it is. Just make sure y'all enjoy the day. It's your guy JayBReacts, and until next time, y'all. Peace.